Anyways, our event, it is new this year, and a lot of excitement kind of being generated by it. We're doing a historical cemetery tour. And the concept behind this is that people, we have a lot of local history in our town here, and a lot of important people that made that happen. Obviously, Ivy Prime, we all know him. A lot of these people are buried in the cemetery. And what these actors, they had actors at these sites, and they portrayed the people. So it's kind of a living history, so they can tell their story and tell you what they did to make that town what it is. And I'm also going to let Michelle talk for a couple minutes here too. One of our goals, though, I did want to say in closing here, is we just wanted to recognize and show a whole new generation of people, our founding fathers of this town, and honor them in this whole experience. And I think we're going to pull that off really well. I'm going to let Michelle talk a minute, and then we'll bring some other guests out for you to see.
History has made a huge resurgence in popularity, and especially, Twin Falls is really relatively a new town. So the idea now that we're old enough, we actually have our own history is quite cool. And so people are really catching on to this. But for now, I don't want to take up all your time. We've got a couple of my friends here I'd like to introduce. Lyda Southard, our notorious serial killer, and two of the deputies that rounded her up from Hawaii and brought her here.
There you go, Mike. Now, what do you got to say for yourself?
I'm Anna Elizabeth Trueblood. That's my name, but most people know me as Lyda Southard. Now, Mr. Southard was my 5th husband. I had 7, and these guys got me when I was in Hawaii with Mr. Southard, and I hadn't had time to, anyway, I'm an old woman now, and I've been in jail for a long time, and I busted out once because I don't belong there. I didn't do anything.
Well, Lyda, now we have the rest of the history and the rest of the story right here in my little journal. You see, I'm Virgil Ormsby. This is my assistant there, Nathan Brown. And we were ordered by the Twin Falls County prosecutor, Frank L. Stephen, and Stephan, and Sheriff E.R. Herman. And they assigned me to investigate the leads and some of the life and the history of this horrible woman and what she accomplished in a very short time. Now, she was also known as Idaho's most notorious serial killer. She was reputed to have killed 4 husbands and a brother-in-law, and believe it or not, her own daughter, if you can believe that.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, Lyda. It's too late now, dear. Now, I discovered when I was following her history that her first husband's brother, Bob, his brother-in-law, Ed, had died shortly after he'd taken out a life insurance policy made payable to Bob and Lyda. And after that, after Bob died, or after Ed died, then Bob took out a policy made out to Lyda. Guess what? She died. He died shortly after.
It was influenza.
Influenza, she claimed. Now, she married husband number 2, Billy McAfee, in 1917. And shortly after that, her daughter died, and they moved to Montana. Well, in 1918, poor Billy died.
It was ptomaine poisoning.
Ptomaine poisoning is what the official inquest said. And in 1919, she married in the spring to Harlan Lewis, husband number 3. And he died 4 months later after taking out a $10,000 life insurance policy.
It was influenza, I'm telling you.
Influenza
All
again.
influenza?
Well, you know, after that, I became really suspicious. So I went up to Montana. I went to McAfee's old house up there. I went down in the basement, and what do you think I found down there? I found a huge quantity of fly paper, which this young lady had been using. She had boiled it in a pot, and she skimmed off the arsenic in the top, and she was putting that in the food of her loved one. Well, dear, I'm sorry to tell you that, but after this, I told the sheriff down here in Twin Falls, and he immediately exhumed the first 3 victims' bodies. And guess what? They found arsenic in all but the daughter's body. Well, a warrant was issued right there. And I continued to hunt her down. She was traveling everywhere. Oh, for crying out loud. She was later caught in Topeka, Kansas, finally brought back and put in Idaho State Penitentiary. Now I'm buried out in the cemetery right across from Lyda's family and her daughter and 2 of her husbands. And poor Lyda, she's buried across the way there, across Kimberly Road and Sunset Memorial Park.
They wouldn't put me with my own kin.
Imagine that. So if you want to know the rest of the story, we want to invite you all out there to the Twin Falls Cemetery this Saturday and bring all your family. I'm sure you'll enjoy the history of Twin Falls.
Oh, I've been busy. I made everyone an apple pie you can share.
All right, that's enough of that, young lady. Let's head to your group.
Well, I got a little taste there of what